Hey, I'm excited to be back with another book, with another reflection title, another lessons that we can discuss and maybe understand more of. Today is episode 103, and we are talking about winning and losing. So, Chris, take it away.
Was probably the book that really kicked off my mind around like not caring as much about outcomes in general. And it was funny because the next book that I finished right after that was this book called Winning Ugly by Brad Gilbert, The Mental
Uh,
Warfare in Tennis, Lessons from a Master by Brad Gilbert. So if you don't know who Brad Gilbert is, which I'm assuming, do you have any idea who Brad Gilbert is?
Not a clue.
This guy was a journeyman tennis player. He was never even remotely close to the most talented guy. He had no advantage over anybody on the court. He ended up at one point in time being a top five player in the world. He won millions of dollars in his pro career, and I think he won a silver medal maybe in the Olympics or a bronze medal or something like that. So this guy found a way to maximize all of his skills through looking at this book is about him looking at every aspect of the game, from like your warm-ups to your pre-prep to what food you eat, to what you put in your bag, to how you play the game. He examines every frame by frame, tries to leave nothing out there that he can't find an advantage of to be able to exploit his opponent and win the game and find ways to create situations that are put luck in his favor, like how to return serve first, or how you play against wind, how you mind games, basically. Like tennis is a very mental warfare sport if you really want to play it that way. The best of the best, you have to. I mean, honestly, you have to. It's a strategic sport, but at the same time, it's very much just
Physical.
it's physical and strategic. You can outpower somebody, or you can outthink somebody, or there's a million ways to beat somebody. Mental acuity is really important. So this is what Brad did as a career journeyman. Ultimately, he actually became Agassi's tennis coach. The reason why I ended up reading this book was Agassi talked about him. Agassi had all the skill in the world, but he didn't really have the mental side of it. And he was like, I want
Mm-hmm.
this guy to like come train me how to just grit things out and to figure out how to just figure out how to win, and not worry about being the prettiest player all the time or something like that. So
Right.
that's what this book's about in general. And obviously, I love tennis, and it was a fun read. I enjoyed it. Actually, the reflection title from this one is I wrote, "What would it be like if I stopped caring about winning and losing?" So in a continuation of the Bhagavad Gita, I mean, the truth is, I could say that I don't care about my work or tennis or results these days, but to be fair, it'd be a lie. What is true is I care a lot less about my work, the results, the outcomes, and whether I win or lose in tennis and things like that these days. I really, truly do. And I'm working really hard to try to detach further and further away from caring about the results. Deep down inside, I feel like there's this little good wolf and a bad wolf on my shoulder, right? It's whatever which one you feed, right? The bad wolf in me just wants to win, right? Like I don't care if it's winning ugly. I want to go find all the tips and tricks. I have this, my heart starts pumping, the anxiety starts racing, the
Mm-hmm.
the anger, the rage in me, the wanting to, to win at all costs kind of thing, like, comes out every once in a while. And it has my whole life. I mean, before this whole journey, I mean, I've told you a million times, like winning and losing. Oh, well, not winning, losing mattered to me a lot. Like, I mean, that is what fuels me to want to, like, you want to talk about what my why used to be? It was probably losing. Like, that was probably my why. Like, that was
Mm-hmm.
probably the thing that fueled me the most, was to be like, if you wanted a fire that you can never put out in me, it's make me lose, and it won't go away until I win. And then when I win, I don't care. But, when I lose, I'm like, I got to keep going at this until I find a way to break through. So, I've spent a lifetime with that as my mentality. I mean, it's been ingrained in me. Like we talk about this a lot of time, like the whole grit and grind culture, the win at all costs, no pain, no gain, no whatever, all the bullshit sayings that are out there in the world these days. That's how I've been raised my entire life. And this magical learning journey has changed so many different things. Amelia's changed so many things that I'm working really hard to detach from the outcomes and to just focus on living my values and caring about my work these days, caring about how I feel after the match, caring about how I feel in the match, caring about feeling like, did I live up to my values today while I was producing the work that I did? That's my version of what I like to call winning and losing these days. I can't tell you how bad I feel sometimes, because one of my core values is now integrity that I added on. That was my last one that I recently added maybe about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't tell you how bad I feel sometimes when I call a ball out that in my mind after I called it out, and I'm like, that may have been in, and then I stick with the call, and I'm like, well, it'd be kind of weird to like change it, 10 seconds later. Like it's just something you don't really do a lot. And honestly, like that hurts more. That I feel worse when I do that than losing the match. It makes me feel, because it's violating my integrity. It's violating my core values. And
Mm-hmm.
that's my only goal when I'm playing tennis these days. Walking into a boardroom, when I'm giving a presentation, like want to make sure that I lived up to who I say I want to be with how I perform my actions in that activity that day. I just don't care about the outcome as much anymore. And that's not to say that I don't. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting better and better and better at it these days. And honestly, it makes things more and more fun. I will say it takes away a little bit of my competitive edge. I'm trying to figure out that balance between that fire that makes me just want to go and enjoying that activity, because I do like competition, challenge myself is one of my core values. So I'm not there yet, and that's probably the biggest hang up that I have left in this whole entire journey. The thought, like, what would it be like if I just truly didn't care about winning and losing? Like, how would that feel in a tennis match, in a boardroom, in these kind of activities, and writing, and whatever you're doing, right? The things you're living your values for. I know I'll be fulfilled if I can do that, and that's a question we can talk about. I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so I think I want to start out with a question then. You've said that before this transformation, you are this angry loser. You hate to lose,
Hate it.
right? So how does that feeling compare to what are you doing now? Like, I mean, i- is hating to lose, does that give you the benefit you want? I mean, of course it gives you benefit, but my question would be, does that give you the benefit you wanted? Is it
No,
worth it to be angry when you're losing to get an edge? To say, hey, I'm going to practice some more. I'm going to train more. I'm going to train harder than normal, right? Yes, you would get an extra boost of skills or power or whatever. But my question to you, is it worth it for the effort you put in to get the reward you want?
there's so much to unpack there. So it's like I feel like it's almost like the tortoise and the hare at this point in time, right? Like, yes, as a hare, like there is value to that fire that gets just thrown into competitive fire, right? But
Right.
the hare, or sorry, the tortoise value though is like the more that feeling happens and it doesn't go your way, then the more and more you just want to go, why am I playing this game like anymore? Why am I going to this board? Why am I doing this job? Like this is stupid. I don't want to feel this way all the damn time, after I lose a match. And it sucks the life out of the fun out of those activities. I would
Hmm.
say that from a tortoise perspective, would I be playing tennis the rest of my life? No. There's a reason why I kind of stopped playing tennis after I graduated from college. I was burnt out from it. I was tired of competing. I was tired of either worrying about winning and losing. I was just tired. I found my joy back with the game, but then I started competing again in it. And also, I loved it and it was still fun and I was still having a good time. I could feel that somewhat tiny little voice in the back of my head every once in a while be like, what are you doing? You don't need to do this anymore. Like, just go have fun. Just go hit with your friends. Like, you can still compete and have fun, but you don't need to push yourself to the limits of caring about the outcome of this activity anymore because it's painful. It hurts, right? So back to your question, like what hurts more or feels better? I think I feel better these days than I hurt when I try to just go in and focus on living my values. Because one of my values is challenging yourself. So it doesn't mean that I can't push myself. I just won't push myself to the point where I'm mad at myself or I'm mad at somebody else or I'm mad at the outcome. I mean, I can still try to get better. And this is something that I'm really working hard on. It is a bit of a mind, freak, I guess if you will, of going, I want to compete, but I want to also have fun and enjoy the activity for the values, the intrinsic values of the activity, right? So there is a
Hmm.
bit of a barbell, if you will. I just finished anti-fragility. There's a bit of a barbell there, right? Of like where is the happy balance point between those two? And in it, you can still be competitive and still live your values. Like I mean, like that's like they don't have to be a dichotomy there. I don't know. Does that answer your question? I guess at all.
Yeah. And so if do you ever think about or wishing you want to go back to being more competitive like you had in the past?
Sometimes I do these days because, like I said, I'm trying really hard to detach from the outcomes. And sometimes, like I've been playing a lot better competition these days in tennis. Like sometimes I want really badly to win that match still, just because I want to prove that I am getting better and improving. And if you go on a little bit of a losing streak or something like that, like sometimes I wish that fire would come out to be like, okay, it's time to be Chris again. Like get out there and go,
Hmm.
just go ape shit on some people. You know what I mean? Like unleash, release, everything that's built up inside of you, kind of thing. The problem is for me these days is I don't want that to be who I am. The people that I'm playing right now, as I've grown in my skill level and in this game that I've been playing my whole entire life, If I was losing all the time to these people, I don't know that I would have kept playing. I would have been like, maybe I've peaked a little bit here, Like, I don't know that I would be a hare or a tortoise, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that I would play this the rest of my life and try to continue to always get better. Not actually, that's not my goal. I'm not trying to get better. I'm just trying to enjoy playing the game. So sometimes I want that person to come out, but then most of the time when I come back home, I'm like, I don't want that person. I just need to figure out a balance between still being competitive, but also still having fun and living my values.
So, which would you think is responsible for the wanting to be competitive? Is that your system one or system two?
I
Which
think it's
one is
system one.
telling?
I think it's system one. I think we are built to
Hmm.
to to push ourselves, to I don't know what it is. It's just like this animal like instinct that comes out of
Hmm.
like I just want to oh, like I just want to
Right.
like, you've
Yeah,
known me for
you're
years
being,
now.
and so knowing from the book Thinking Fast and Slow, which one is more of the path that is aligned to what you really want? Is system one or system two?
It's actually system one, to be fair. So what I'm trying to do is to make my elephant feel okay with just enjoying being out in the sun, being like the castle and the oil, right? It's like play the game, don't drop the
Right.
oil, but enjoy the castle along the way. It's okay, and you'll get better over time just by sheer nature of playing more and more and playing against better competition and hitting better shots. And let your elephant be your elephant is really what it is. I just need to get my rational brain is the one that actually kicks in the competitive streak of going, you need to do something. You need to fix something. You need to get out there.
So you think your rational brain is telling you that? I would think that your system one is telling you that because you
Mm-mm.
conditioned for being competitive all your life.
No, not at all. It's my system. It's my system too. It's my writer that gets in there and they're like,
So
you
why do
need
you
to
think
do
your
something.
rider wants that competitiveness? What's driving that rider to want to be the best of the best?
Yeah.
But the reasoning for that, it has to be of, because I think if for me, looking
Yeah. I
at
want to win.
any decision, it has to come down to a fulfilled need.
Right.
And the need comes from system one, not system two.
I'm,
Because, for example, we
I'm
go to
telling
work
you, when I'm
because
living my values to the best of my abilities, it is my elephant all day, every day. It's my system one. Like it is natural. It is flowing. It is happy. It's fun. It's still competitive. I'm smiling. I'm enjoying life.
so
When
what
it's like when
happened if you let your system one runs for, a couple of weeks? Maybe log your emotions or your feelings towards, the events or whatever, whether you win or you lose, and how do I feel? And versus, some weeks that you would let system two have full control and say, hey, okay, today I'm going to do this. And then compare the two and see what, for you, what is worth more.
I have been. That's what I've been doing. That's why I said I've been working really hard these days to do this and get
What's
like
the
some detail.
result?
So this is where I'm a little confused by the results a little bit. I don't care that let me just be frank. I
Let's
can
be
be Chris.
frank.
Let me just let me be, let me, I'll just be, let me just be Chris here for a second.
Yeah.
So the caliber of players that I'm playing these days are a
Hmm.
lot better players than I've been playing for the past few years because I've
Right.
gotten better and I've been progressing up into different
Hmm.
levels of tennis where I was back to more where I was like in like the high school, kind of time frame or whatever it may be. I'm losing way I never lost ever for the past like 4 years of my life. I barely ever lost. And sometimes I was okay with playing at a lesser level just because it was nice to always be the guy that was like, oh, I don't want to play Chris, like, you know what I mean? Like you're that guy, you're the guy that everybody's like, well, I don't want to play Chris. And sometimes I didn't challenge myself against better players and I didn't do shots that I know that I should be pushing myself, like in grit, when we talk about in grit of deliberate practice, right? Where I
Hmm.
know that I have a weakness, but that weakness doesn't get exploited when I'm playing against certain players. Well, as I've gotten better and better and I'm playing better players, like don't get me wrong, like I'm still certainly competitive and I still win my fair share. I lose a lot more these days, like a lot more to the point where sometimes it's like, what am I doing? But I know that I'm getting better. I can feel that I'm getting better. I don't think that I would continue to want to try to progress in tennis if I wasn't living my values and wasn't letting my elephant be my elephant. Because if I did put my rider back into control, I don't think I could take that constant defeat all the time. What am I doing? Just go back and beat the people that I know how to beat. You're still a good tennis player. Just be okay with where you're at and just go win. Because I don't know, that rider would push me into that level, right? So when I've been trying my best to just let my elephant be, like I just had a tennis match tonight. There's this whole challenge bracket that I'm in. We're the number 2 team. We were playing the number 1 team. We lost. They're good. I could easily be furious right now. Like 5 years ago, I would have been furious. I'm like, I want to be that number one team, right? Like now, I don't care. Fun. I played well. I hit some good shots. Me and my partner, we got better in this doubles match, and I feel like we learned a lot, and I'm okay with that. Like I'm not mad. Like I'm not gonna not stop playing because I can't be number one or something like that.
Hmm.
So I'd rather do that, even if I lost. But where the kicker is and all this stuff is, I know that I can be like just because you're letting your elephant work doesn't mean you need to be like laid back. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like you can't, like, you're not engaged. You know what I mean? Like that's where I'm struggling today. I haven't fully figured that one out of like,
Hmm.
let your elephant be, but you can let your elephant be, but still like be like the rider can go, hey, elephant, let's leverage the competitive value a little bit more here. Your challenge value. Like, and I'll be like, oh, okay, all right, let's do it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, it seems like you need a balance between the two. You can't just always, win all the time, because if you win all the time, then you're not going to progress. Just because, just imagine playing somebody who's much lower level than you, then you're gonna win, but you're not
Not getting better.
learning anything new. The other team is not giving you a run for your game.
Yeah.
Winning will trigger some kind of emotions, and then losing will trigger some other emotions. And depending on your genetic makeup, you would feel a different way. And sometimes losing can drive you to do more stuff, but at the same time, there's always a payment you must pay,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? I think you got to optimize the balance between the two. Have, I guess, give your elephant the freedom to control 60-70% of it, and then the other 30%, you would actually try to nudge yourself into more growth positions to get better. Because if you win all the time, and you wouldn't grow that much.
Yeah. No, I
It's
agree.
just you're not being challenged. And so, it goes against your values of challenge, right?
Exactly. So, like, the way that I would ideally love to leverage my rider and my elephant in a tennis match is in the point. It's always just the elephant. Don't ever let the rider get involved. Maybe in between breaks, you zoom out above the court, you visualize
Hmm.
what you want to
Hmm.
do, you take your time, you reflect, but then you let your elephant go back onto the court. Like, you don't need. This is the problem that I've, as we've gone through this process, and I can say these words now, and I can understand like the feelings that I've had my whole life. It would. This is, and I actually just ironically wrote a reflection about this the other day in a completely different book and related to tennis, actually, where, you know, all these days I'll start out and be like, okay, guys, we're just here to have fun. Like, let's just live our values. Elephants in control. So I'm like kind of just chill, laid back. I'm playing. I'm having a good time. And then like the first 3 or 4 games go by, and either if I'm winning, then I'll let the elephant stay. If I'm starting to lose, I'm like the rider kicks in. He's like, okay, you mother, like it's time to get out of here, elephant. Like I gotta work. Like we gotta get into this thing. So then I start trying harder. What's funny is I'll start to get a little bit of a boost, because my rider will push myself. But then all of a sudden, like I'll push myself too hard. Because here's the key to like pretty much tennis and everything in life. It's when you start to try really hard, you start to make mistakes. You might hit a few good shots or something like that, and you might go, "Oh, I got this." I know what I'm doing. Like riders telling the elephant what to do. But then things start to go haywire, and your elephant's trying too hard, and your body movements and your muscle memory isn't doing what you need it to do. The rider kicks back in again, and he's like, okay, we got to try harder. And then you go harder, right? And then eventually you end up, the first set's over or something along those lines, and you're like, okay, let's just let the elephant take over and let's just play, have fun. You're like, don't try too hard. And then your body gets back into this flow, and you start hitting great shots. And then this is the fun part is you get back into a flow, and your elephant's in a flow, and then all of a sudden you're like 3 or 4 games into this flow state, and your little rider kicks in and be like, good job, guys, we're doing good. Like, yeah, why did you just say that? What do you mean? What do you mean? We're doing no. And then the rider's like, no, we're not. I don't want to mess you up. Like, just you're just doing good. I just wanted to say, hey, like you're doing good. Thumbs up.
I tell you.
We're all just like looking at each other and like, why did you do that? And then you're back to thinking, and then the writer's like, okay, guys, I got to step back in. This is. I didn't mean to mess you up, and now I got to like, it's crazy. I'm like, I feel like I have cuckoo
Yes,
brain.
the rider and the elephant need to be on the same page.
Yes,
You guys need to work as a team, because the rider keep jumping in inappropriate places, and just messing up the flow of the elephant. And
yeah,
so I think that makes sense. If you can get your rider and your, the elephant to work together as a team and coordinate that better, I think you would have a more optimal outcome. And I think having control of the elephant feels good. It feels right. It feels like you're supposed to be there. And then, you want to grow, then you need to give some time to the rider. But the rider is not going to be able to control everything. It is inferior to system one
Right.
because the
Yeah.
elephant has all of your muscles and your reflexes and your muscle memory and everything else in there. So he has years and millions of years of training. The rider system only has like a moment of creativity here and there and just, sparks and it's butter if you let him
Right.
control. It's going to ruin everything.
It does. I mean, it really does. I want to detach from the outcomes. My rider cares about the outcomes. My elephant gives two shits. My elephant just wants to be an elephant. Like my elephant just
Mm-hmm.
wants to, go play tennis, live my values, like go have fun, move my body, do what it feels natural to do. And my stupid rider is always the one that cares about the outcomes. And I'm trying to say, like, you need to like for the rider to be engaged, that's practice time. Like
Like
when it's
you're
game to
asking to
elephant
be able
show.
to build you a mansion.
Can you imagine, like if a beaver had a little, head like a little rider beaver or whatever,
Right.
in his own mind, and he's like yelling at him, like, why don't you cut this like log better? Because we need to stack this thing for
Build bigger, bigger.
right.
Yeah.
And
Bigger than
you're like,
before.
go faster. And the beaver's like, I cut wood at the pace that I cut wood, and I move it over
Yeah,
here. I'll do it all
because the
day long.
beaver say, I just want to build a dam so I can swim in it. I'm not here to
Right.
build dam so I can swim.
Exactly. Actually, that's a
Right.
great point. Is I'm not here to build dams. They're just here to cut wood and to they're not here to build like the idea of a dam. They're there to do what they're doing, and the dam is the outcome, right? Like it's not for whatever reason they just do what they do.
Goes to another level is, the reason why they want to build the dam in the first place
Right.
is because they want a pool of water so they can swim. So they don't build a
Exactly.
dam and then destroy it and build again. So you have to find your true calling, your true reason why you want to play tennis. What
Exactly.
is it that you want to fulfill? Because play tennis is, but for example, we let's talk about Andre Agassi, right?
There you go.
Why did he play tennis?
Well, he
There's a
did
reason why he played tennis,
as a kid. He did it because he was afraid of his dad, and that was all that he knew how to do as a teenager. And that was
right?
and he dropped out of school. Like I mean, but there's a reason he didn't discover that reason that he wanted to play tennis until he
Mm-hmm.
was in
So
his
there
late
is
20s when he hit rock bottom.
so like people say, I'm building this dam, right? But I want to build this dam because I want to swim. Andre Agassi want to build a dam because he want to use that money to fund his mission, his foundation,
Right.
and that what makes him feel like, okay, this is worth it for me. Because
Yeah.
when he was really good at what he does, how he played tennis, right? Once he got to the point of being number one, right? It did not satisfy him. Because
No,
actually,
not at
when
all.
he
Actually, it
become
was
number
worse.
one,
It was worse.
he
Actually.
become mentally ill.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
you imagine like you, for example, Chris, let's say you become number one, like no one can beat you. Then what do you do then?
No, I mean, you become Michael Phelps and you become depressed.
Exactly. You
Like
become lost.
when you attach yourself to the outcome, even if you can achieve that outcome, what's next? We were talking about this the other day, like the moonshot thing with Dominic was on here. It's great to have a goal, but this is why I don't set goals anymore. I don't worry about the outcomes and I don't worry about goals. What I worry about is exactly what you just said, living your purpose, which for me is living my values for me, and Amelia. And that's what I'm playing tennis for. Like when I went to go play
Right.
tennis tonight, like I wanted to express my values and play tennis with my daughter, not
Mhm.
to win a match, not to be the best player in the world, not to be, I don't give a
Right.
shit. Like, I mean, like,
Right.
what this is
So
what I'm
at the
saying
end
is
of the
no
day, there's
goals, no
always
outcomes.
that end, that layer, the true calling that you have. The
Right.
beaver, it wants to swim inside
Exactly.
of that pool, right? Same thing for Andre Agassi. He played tennis and he enjoy it now more than before, much more than before, because that money funds his mission, funds his why. Same thing for you is, let's say you win, but you're not winning for anyone. Just like I asked before, if you were, let's say whatever some great achievement, right? That you accomplish, whether you make $1 trillion or you become the number one player, or you can do whatever, you can lift 10,000 tons or whatever, but you can't tell anyone. How will you feel if that's the case,
Sounds
right? For
brutal.
most people, it's painful
Right.
because that's the thing is you can hustle and bustle and grind and do whatever you need to do to become number one, but then what's next? That achievement doesn't give you the satisfaction because it doesn't align with what you have as your calling, your value. And so
Yeah.
your value, I think, is the second layer to the thing that you're doing.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
You want to grow, you want to be competitive because of why, right? Because you want to channel the endurance and the power that your daughter show you, right? For you to compete and for you to get better, it's saying, hey, if I live for two, then her spirit is with me.
And
And
I'm
that's
happy.
why we're doing it. And
Right.
because I'm doing this, I remember her. It's a remembrance of what she meant to you. And
Exactly.
so that has a resonance in your calling.
That matters. That's meaningful to me.
Exactly.
That's what makes that match meaningful. Like I said, all these things I highlighted. Did I play the
Mm-hmm.
match with integrity? Did I challenge myself? Did I never
Mm-hmm.
give up? Did I learn something new?
Mm-hmm.
Did I enter and exit the match with humility? Did I seek help? Did I stay emotionally balanced and maintain control? Did I have some freaking fun?
So,
And
so
honestly,
this
did I
is
do?
this is basically your elephant is adjusting the rider.
Yes, this is what I'm saying. I can't put into words to you how big of a shift this in particular mentality has been. This is probably one of the biggest. I just finished Anti-Fragile on Friday last week. I wrote my first reflection for it, but I think I'm gonna have to do like a 5-part reflection thing. Those are really good
Is
book.
that good?
Yeah, it was good. You know how he talks about like keep it simple, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's taken me 2 years to 2.5 years now to understand what Amelia taught me, and I still don't understand it completely, but at least I can
Right.
simplify it to say like, look, when I perform any work, it will become meaningful work if I can answer these questions and live my values at the end of it. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes me feel fulfilled and have a meaningful existence. Not the outcome, not the goal, not some dopamine driven idea. This is what will sustain me and make me
Right.
feel like I'm doing what I promised my daughter that I would do. And I get to have fun with her still. And I get to live my life with her. So, like, I know that, like, if I explain that to somebody, like that's what clubbing is, right? That's the essence of it. And we've been trying to figure this thing out for a really long time, but it's doing it with people you like and doing and expressing your values at the same time in the work that you in the actions that you do and the work that you produce, right? So you and I doing this stuff together every single night, I could change these questions up to the words that I speak, were they genuine? Was I
Right.
lying about these things or was I not? Did I challenge myself? Did I let you challenge me? Did you push me? Did we have some good conversations when I wrote this? Are we still doing this because we never gave up? Are we enduring through this? This is hard. We're gonna still have all the crazy shit going on in our life. Did I do it alone? No. I mean, you and I are doing this together,
Right.
right? Did we have fun? Yes. This activity is meaningful work for me, and I enjoy it, and it means that I'm
Right.
living my purpose at that point in time, and I want to do more of that. Is
Mm-hmm.
that's me. That's clubbing. I mean,
Right. Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's about your values. When you align to your value, the worth it's a lot high, like
mm,
10x high. So that whatever effort you put in for the worth, because hey, this is what I really want, right? Then, for example, if I were to be, stranded at a desert, right? What I want is water, not a brick of gold, right? Because it changes based
right,
on what is I need. That means that whatever I willing to pay, what I'm willing to do, I can be, I can work all day for a glass of water.
right,
Your value is really what it is that you want. When you have that want, the value is always worth the effort.
right.
Whether
Exactly.
I can be digging
Regardless.
holes in the desert sand in a scorching heat, but for the glass of water, I would rather have a glass of water than a brick of gold, right?
Correct.
And so remember, it's about the value. The value means the things you need, the things that will fulfill you for whatever reason. This example of the desert, I mean, I don't know if I can think of a better one, but in a desert, you don't want money.
Right. Right.
You
Well,
want a glass of
I
water.
mean, I guess in theory, if there was like a Abu Dhabi or something there or whatever, like, with like
But
oil dealing.
he
Yeah.
said, well, the glass of water is going worth two bottles of gold. What would you do?
Oh, that's a good point.
Let's say
You just want the
let's
water,
say you have
but
to have a glass of water. I said, well, I want five. What you can do?
I guess you got to go earn more gold to go get your water, but you just
Right.
really wanted the
So
water.
if I'm sick in bed and I need a pill to get me better, and the guy say, I want $1 million, what would you do? You're gonna
Yeah.
find you're gonna find that it's worth it.
Right.
That pill is gonna worth $1 million.
Yeah. It's worth losing for me to live my values.
Because
Like,
the
I
thing
mean,
is, whatever you need, whatever you want, has a very, very high worth.
right.
That's my point. Is when you
Yes.
find the thing that you really want, the things that you do to get that result, that thing in exchange, is worth every single effort, every single sweat and tears that you put out to get it.
And I can't stress this more importantly out of this whole conversation. Don't ever tie anything to an outcome. Don't ever tie any worth or value or anything to a goal or an outcome. Never do it. Don't say, I'm working toward selling my business or going public or getting this director level role or something like that. Don't ever do that.
The essence of the happiness hypothesis.
Yeah, don't tie yourself to, don't set these goals and don't set these outcomes. Like, don't worry about the outcome. And I know that sounds crazy. And honestly, my entire life I was told to set goals and to worry about the outcome. You know what I mean? Like,
Society tells us to do.
no, and it's
But
like,
it makes it worse because once you get this
makes it way
director
worse.
level, right? Then you want to be VP, right? But then your stake is much higher and harder to achieve. But
right.
then I think even if you get from director to VP, it doesn't feel that good.
No.
It just doesn't. And then you
It
want
feels
more,
worse,
but
actually, a lot of
it's
times.
harder and harder. So it's like a spiral. So basically what I'm saying is, in that essence, based on the book of happiness hypothesis, is the more you try to achieve, the more miserable you become.
Only if that's the goal, is to achieve that.
Right,
If,
because
if,
you're achieving the next level.
right.
Because you become like jaded by, you go from $0
Right.
to $1,000. Happiness is really great. And you go from $1,000 to 5,000 or $10,000. But to get from 1,000 to 10,000, that's 9,000 more. Much harder to get. But the feeling good feeling, the emotion, not that much compared to 0 to 1,000.
Well, and it never ends either at that point.
So it's become this spiral of you tracing something and you need more and more of it, just like an addict. Yeah, at first you use a bit of cocaine, right? You use it 1 time a week, and then next time you have to do like twice or 3 times a week for you to get to the same feeling.
Right.
And then get to the point where you do it every hour just to get the same feeling. So it's this spiral. So the goal, it will trigger the molecule more, the dopamine.
Yeah. And it triggers it the wrong way. Like values triggers it the right way. Like values triggers it, and it's an abstract. Like, this is the beauty of values and your purpose and your why. If you live it this way, it's totally abstract. Like, you can apply it to anything, but it's never tangible. Never tie your happiness to something tangible ever. It has to always be intangible. That is the key. But the key behind all of that stuff, though, too, is it has to be real. The intangible that you're tying to has to be something that you genuinely care about, and want to do more of, whether that be like Bob Goff is like a great example. He genuinely loves love. He writes books about this stuff. He gives out his cell phone number and he's like, call me anytime. And he takes hundreds of phone calls just all the time because this is his expression of his values, right? It's not about like, it's some gimmick or whatever. I'm like, well, I'm doing this to sell 1 million books or whatever. And then you sell 1 million books and you're like, this is just what he does. Like, love does, right? This is an action. Your values are actions.
Values is a verb.
Right, exactly. It's an intangible. Like what is love? I mean, he can interpret that in a million different ways. For him, it's taking a phone call, from anybody that calls him, or whatever other examples that he gives. But you can express that in so many different ways. It doesn't have to be a specific thing. It doesn't have to be, I have to win this tennis tournament, or I have to be #1 in the world, or I have to win a grand slam, or I have to, get a promotion or whatever. As long as your values are intangible and your why is intangible and your purpose is intangible, then I think you should be good.
I mean, it's like Bob Goff said, hey, I want to, do the, a love of actions of somebody, like I want to do that 100 times. Right. Instead of saying, hey, I just want to express, my kindness and my love. Right. And that is infinity.
Right.
As long as he wants to do it, and as long as he feels good about it, he can do it. So having that abstract, but still actionable, value allows you to do that infinity. There's no end to it.
I feel like, I know you'll probably feel the same. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, though. I feel like you and I could do this every day for the rest of our life if we really wanted to. I mean, I'm not saying it has to be this exact activity, but we could do something similar to this,
That's the thing is, I don't think about the end.
Oh, it's not like, oh, we got to get to
365. I'm gonna go to in the next year, whatever. I don't think about. It's not a questions I want to answer,
right?
Because
it's just a fun conversation.
In my mind, it's like, if I'm enjoying it, why should I end it? Why should I set a goal to say, hey, I'm gonna do 1,000? Right. These are arbitrary questions. I mean, because if you said it, right, that means you don't enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, why do it?
When we get 1 million followers on YouTube or something like that, like, who gives a shit?
If you have a goal, right? A goal, that means that you're doing things that is not your calling. When you do things that are not calling, you're not having fun. Right. You're just trying. The only carrots that's dangling in front of you is that goal of, hey, I want to get the viewers. And so your action doesn't align with the things that you need and the things that you enjoy. Because why 1 million? Why can't it be 2 million? Why can't it
Right.
be 1 billion? Why
Well, it
can't it
never
be
stops at that point in time. We can
right?
become
Because
Amazon and you're like buying
if you
everything.
answer that question, then that's where you're going to have a different carrot.
It's
Those carrots is going to be the end of your journey, and that's going to be a lot of time when the carrot is something that entices you short term. For the long term, you don't want it, and it becomes a grind
right.
for you. And if for me, my philosophy that if I say 10 years from now, if I don't want to do this, do I mind doing this? I'm not saying that I am going to do this forever. I'm just saying, hey, I don't have an end point. If I change and I accept the fact that if I change, then I will change. But if I see myself 10 years from now, can I see myself doing this? And the answer will be yes. Then I will continue to do the things I want to do. But if imagine, casting yourself into the future and say, hey, would I mind doing this in 10 years? And the answer is no, then stop doing it. Don't waste your time doing it. Find the thing that fits your calling.
I
Right?
totally agree.
Why are we say, hey, no, I'm going to do this for another year. I'm going to do this for another 2 years, right?
Yeah, I wrote down in my journal the other day, I was thinking about this exact kind of conversation in
Mm-hmm.
general, and I was like, this is not my goal, but I was like, in theory, I bet I could probably become one of the top 10 tennis players in the world at some point in time in my life, because I'll just probably endure past everybody because I'll be living my values and I'll still be playing when I'm like 95 years old and trying to exercise every day with my daughter and eating, the other stuff that I do by nature, just weed people out to the point in time where they don't even play anymore. And I'll be like, yeah, I'm 95 years old and I'm still whacking a tennis ball around and
Right,
try
right.
try to beat me. I'm still in good shape and let's do this.
Yeah,
Like
when you're 99 years old, would you mind still playing tennis? If that's if you
absolutely. I would.
exactly. So
I
you don't
want
want to
to
be
be
like Michael Phelps. Hey,
right.
I won the Olympic and I'm done. I don't
Yeah,
want to even swim anymore. If it's your calling, whether people watch you or not, you go out there and you swim just because you love to be in the water. Has
exactly.
nothing to do with showing off to say, hey, I'm the best at what I do. Well, to me, that has very short-term benefit. And short-term benefit, it doesn't last.
And that's one of my one of our club core values is endure, right? So we'll endure because we do the shit that we like, and
Like I say,
eventually we'll be the best. Yeah,
don't just start right
literally.
now. You're
And
wasting
I
time.
and I know that it's so hard to even say that. And to be fair, it's not even fair for me to say that because I have an albatross in my life. But I'm trying to figure that out, right? I'm trying
Hmm.
to do the other things around it so I don't have that in my life anymore. And we'll get there eventually. I'm
The,
not in
the,
any
the
hurry.
point the point is
Not my goal. I
recognizing
have a
what
goal.
you don't want to
Right.
do and start to plan for a transition.
Right.
We're not advocating just stop everything. If you can, great. If you're not, then you need to transition.
Just
Stop
recognize
it
it.
and say,
Yeah,
okay,
right.
can I remove it?
Right.
Right?
But
Sometimes you can't just remove it like a band-aid where you rip it, right? It's just not gonna
you,
work that.
you don't need to set a goal to remove it. Just start doing more of the stuff you like to do, and
Yes.
eventually it'll weed itself out. You're gonna go like, I don't have
Yeah.
time to do this anymore. I got to find a way to replace this with other things, and you'll just go, oh well, that just naturally aligns. Like it's not, you don't even need to set a goal of it. It'll just naturally get weeded out of your own life.
Mm-hmm.
As you start to do more and more of the stuff you want to do, and you'll start. For me, I'm writing books. I just applied to be the national tennis president of the Midwest in USTA Midwest division, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't make any sense. But if it's something I want to do for the rest of my life, that kind of just naturally aligns. Will I make as much money as I do in sales and in Salesforce? I don't know. I don't care. I know that it'll be in alignment with something that I care about, that I'm passionate about, that I can express these values. There you go. I mean, I don't know if it'll work out, but I don't care.
It doesn't matter if it work
Right,
out because the thing
right,
is you have to enjoy the journey. Have to
right.
enjoy the walking around that castle and admiring the scenery versus just looking at that spoonful of oil. So, it's the enjoyment of the things that you have at the moment in time versus the end goal because a lot of times you get to the end goal and then you get lost. And at the end of the day, say, well, I went this far. Now what? Right? Well, guess what? You're in the place that you want to be. So you want to go back all the way to where you started to do it again, right?
Well,
Jumping on a bus and figure out if you're on the right bus first,
exactly.
right? I mean, that's just a bird's eye view perspective is don't just jump on any bus because that bus is fast. You have
Right.
to figure out if you're on the right bus because where do you want to go?
Well, I don't know that any of us know where we want to go, but at least if you're on the right bus,
What
it'll
do you
take you
want to
where you
do?
want to go.
Do you want to be a famous singer? I can tell you wholeheartedly, no, I have
Okay,
no
well then there
appeal.
you go. You
You see
can't
what
be
I'm
a
saying?
famous singer unless you wanted
You,
to
you,
sing.
you you do know at a ballpark level where you want to be, the locations and places you want to be. I want to be somewhere here. I want to be friendly. I want to be, I want to have honesty. I want to have friends that tells me the truth. I want people that give me disagreement because I like to see their perspective because I want to learn more from them, right? These are kind of things I want. So it's
I,
not
I call that gas in the bus tank. What fuel are you putting in your bus? And then it'll take you where you want to, where it'll take you somewhere, but you don't know where you're going to go. But you know it'll be in a direction that you can live with because you're putting the right fuel into the bus. That would be the analogy that it makes more sense to me because like I don't know where this bus is going. Like I mean shit, that's the biggest. We talked about this. I could have an atomic bomb event tomorrow. I could wake up and have a heart attack and die and
the thing is you basically take it and say, well, I enjoy life thus far because I
right.
enjoy the journey. Because let's say you want to drive the bus to certain places along the way, like I want to see the scenery, I want to see blue bonnets or whatever.
Right.
You enjoy that. And even if you're having a heart attack tomorrow, you say, well, I did my values.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
have no
Yeah.
regrets.
Put the right
But
fuel in my
then if
bus,
if if, if you go, I have a goal, right? And I'm going fast and I don't know where am I going and I'm just put my head under my pillow and I'm just waiting for the goal to come, you're missing out all the joy of life.
Right.
And then when you get that atomic bomb or you have a heart attack, whatever, then you say, damn it, there's so many things I haven't done that I want to do.
Right.
You have that regrets. And so the thing is, a lot of times people don't think about this until they hit the midlife crisis or they have an atomic bomb like you to think about this thing. And that's something that company, we want to change that. We say, hey, you should be asking yourself where you want to be, who you want to be. I mean, it may not come out you're not going to be able to predict if you're going to get there or not, but at least you can enjoy the scenery when you
And
are
the
on
other
your way
fellow
there.
passengers on the bus,
Yes. So you're going to
exactly.
have more of this meaningful relationship.
Exactly. I couldn't agree more. I think that's a good place to pause for the night.
Sounds great.
Awesome. So the question we can leave with everybody tuning in is what's more important to you, the outcome or how you go about your work? Think
Right.
about that and think about what drives you.
Let your elephant play tennis.
Yeah, let's just tell that rider to go sit on the sidelines when
Yes,
you're performing your
yes. When
meaningful
you're
work.
playing, let the elephant play. When you're
Right.
training, you can ask the trainer and say, "Okay, should I modify some stuff?" But when I'm playing, let me play.
Yeah, just let the elephant be an elephant.
Yes,
Awesome. All right. Well, great conversation as usual, and thanks for joining us. And we'll see you all tomorrow.
that was good.